Welcome back to the Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. I am Mark. I'm your host for the for the exit interviews for the Amazing Race. I'm very excited but sad to talk to today's eliminated team, Morgan and Lena Franklin. How are you guys today?
We're great. Very, very happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we've been better though. We were better last week.
Letting you know off the bat, Sabrina and myself both loved you guys. We actually earlier this week predicted you guys would be like the top 3 or 4 teams. So we were both. I know we're both shocked that you guys got eliminated this week. But really happy to finally be talking to you guys again. Sad that it is under these conditions. How were you guys fans from the beginning of the show, or how did you guys get into it and apply?
I actually had an internship in New York, and I did absolutely nothing in that internship during college, and it was I thought I was like getting closer to reaching my dreams, so I started watching a TV show in an effort to like not be present in reality. And I picked The Amazing Race, and I watched every single season that was available that summer of The Amazing Race, and then I started getting all of my family to watch episodes of The Amazing Race with me. So yeah, I was basically a grown woman going, hey, that TV show is awesome. I would love to go do it. Who can I get to go do it? And so I ended up applying with my sister a couple of months ago. And like we didn't think much of it. Like my sister was like, I don't know, like and we ended up getting casted, and it was just mind-blowing because I was a super fan of the show. Like I've seen every single episode. And so to get to do it with my sister was like beyond a dream come true. It's like you can only imagine watching your favorite TV show and then going and being in your favorite TV show.
Look, Mark, I thought she was kidding. She was very serious, and I was like, oh, okay, I better get in line. So it was really surprising to have been casted, and like the biggest blessing.
That's great. Like, what was your strategy going into this? Like, how did you guys figure out like what the training for this for the
Not
game?
kill each other, Mark.
That's important. You did not kill each other. And it looked scary when you guys turned the cats in the Autobahn.
I remember in our last interview, like nobody's laughing in the room. Like me and Morgan are just making jokes, right? We're like, haha, we're so funny together. Like, look at us. And like the only serious question was, if you guys get to go race, do you think you are capable of finishing enough activities to like do the race? Like, you know, to the point where like one doesn't go home and the other one's still trying to race, because you can't race if your partner leaves, right? And me and Morgan just kind of looked at each other and we were like, maybe, like, I think so. We wouldn't waste our time being here if we didn't think we could finish the race. But it was like scary. We were like, oh, this is like, that's the only thing they have to ask us. Like, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I think for us, going through the whole process of applying and trying to be casted was a great indicator of how we would work together on the show. So like dividing tasks, being me letting my ego down. Hey, Lena, you know the packing deal. You own that. Like me being clear on like, these are the things that we need to do to get ready to go. Like staying in shape as best as we could. But Lena was the packing guru. And I think in general, just watching the episodes with a different lens. Like it's not all about physical strength. It's not all about really strategic thinking. It's about making the best decisions that you can. So seeing how racers made their decisions and talking through them together was a big part of our strategy.
We were also looking for racers that could race similar to us as we went and rewatch seasons. So we were looking for racers that like didn't have the brawn, but were making right decisions. And what I will say is like, you think you're taking in all these things as you're watching the episode, but when you're like in the middle of chaos in racing, it's completely different. You have no idea how many minutes a team stood there to make a decision and how they felt when they made that decision and what things were happening during the day that forced them to like say, hey, let's go down this street instead of this street, or let's get out of this taxi and get in another taxi immediately, even if it takes 5 more minutes in our day. Like it is very hard to see the time within all of these episodes. So even though we did a lot of prep of rewatching and listening to podcasts and literally sitting and trying to see other racers' strategies when they were racing, there's nothing like actually getting on the race course and making your own decisions.
Oh, yeah, 100%. How did you guys find out that you share the same last name as Greg and John? Because that was like such a fun Easter egg to end the show. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
If you've ever seen that Spider-Man meme where like one person is pointing out,
the whole like, yeah.
that
Literally
that was us. I think we were like standing in an airport or something, and we had already been racing for quite a few days. Like this wasn't like we just realized that we were Franklins like the first day we were racing. No one ever referred to the Franklin brothers as Franklins. They never referred to us as the Franklin sisters. So like we're just in the middle of this conversation and something popped up and somebody was like, their last name is Franklin. And then Morgan, I think you were like, our last name is Franklin.
And then I was like, wait, your last name is Franklin. Our last name is Franklin. You're the Franklin brothers. We're the Franklin sisters. Oh my God, we're the Franklins. And then it became like, they became like our brothers, because how could we not be? So it was super fun and exciting, and very, very random. And then we even had, I think we were going between Germany and Slovenia, and the woman at the counter was like, hey, do you guys want to be connected to the other Franklin brothers? There, we could connect your tickets. And we were like,
oh,
that would be not
they
nice.
were basically implying that they would take Greg and John off of this flight to make sure that we could all fly together. And it took every bone in me and Morgan's body not to be like, sure, of course we can fly with the Franklin brothers.
I know time is running low on this. I want to make sure I ask this question. Using the Express Pass, you guys got the Express Pass, and I loved how you guys worked together to get to the Express Pass and like cheer each other on. What was your mindset before using it, and like why did it take so long to use it at that point?
So, there's a lot that you don't get to see in general. And I think for us, that was not the activity in which we wanted to use the Express Pass, but we were put in a position where I think the language gap and barrier was very real. Our boat driver was not driving the boat, for lack of better words. And it put us in a very sticky situation where even though we were on a boat, by the time we even made it to a boat to deliver fruit, the next group behind us was already delivering fruit. That's how slow our driver was going. So we just had to use the knowledge that we had at hand to make sure that we didn't go home, because we didn't know what laid ahead. So for us, it was a matter of understanding that we would rather get through that task and not be penalized and have as much time to complete the next task. So not our ideal use case, but had to get it done. And at least we made it to the next leg.
Yeah.
I think also like people were like, oh, the girls wasted their Express Pass. And there's a saying in The Amazing Race, especially when you're racing, that you live and die by your taxi driver. Our taxi driver just happened to be a boat driver. And it would have taken us longer to complete that fruit challenge than it did to do the vinyling. And again, like we were shocked that we were, beyond 5th place because we had no visibility to where the other teams were while we were racing. So we didn't have any quarrels about using the Express Pass because it was most likely going to get used at one point in leg 3. So whether it was the vinyling or whether it was the fruit, we were fine with using it on the fruit.
Yeah, and you know what? You got an Express Pass. Not many teams do, and I think you still use it successfully.
Yeah.
We didn't get eliminated with an Express Pass in our hands, and that was the only thing we were trying to avoid. We were like, no way we're getting to the mat, and we're going to be that team holding an Express Pass. Phil is like, how is that even physically possible for you guys to be on this mat right now?
Yeah, we have to talk about this tuk-tuk race. I talked about it with Joe and Ian briefly, because that is literally one of the highlights of the season. I don't care what anyone says. That tuk-tuk race, being shot between you guys and Joe and Ian. What was it like in that moment? Because they told me that they couldn't pass you guys for like 2 miles on the hill.
Mark, let me give you the real deal. When we got to Lena and I are fast, right? The vinyling and the mural challenge, we really struggled. Almost every other challenge, if you were to time it, we were the fastest in a lot of cases. When we got to our tuk-tuk driver, he told us that we were last. We said, are there other are we last? He said, yes, you are. And we were like, well, we had just had the deal with the tiles. We're like, it doesn't matter. We need to go. His tuk-tuk battery was on low. So we're going, we see the boys run behind us. We're like, we have to go. We're racing. He's telling us, calm down. We're like, dude, we're in a race. We're competing. The guys got stopped on the pathway at a kind of junction, but their tuk-tuk was faster than ours. So they met us at the bottom and they bypassed us. When they waved, I said, do you see them? We're about to lose right now. And all of a sudden it clicked. And our driver was like, oh my God, I get it. And he literally peeled off on the side street within 10 seconds of seeing them. And that's what saved us. So
it was really, Ian and Joe gave us a wave. And if they had not given us a wave, our tuk-tuk driver spoke English. So,
oh man.
So when they waved, we were like, oh, thank God, you know, and like everybody is so friendly and so nice. But if Ian and Joe hadn't done the wave, we couldn't have explained to our driver that we were losing.
Oh, I have to ask about that bridge in Germany, because you guys had like I think you guys were like, the reason why Sabrina and I were convinced you guys were going to be in the top 3 teams was because every time you got to challenge, you dominated and you had such great thinking when you got to the bridge. That giant bridge, I have no idea how big that bridge was, but you decided run to the other side and see if, because all the locks will be there.
You get PTSD when doing these activities. So like I get to the bridge and I'm like, why do I have to redeem myself from the needle in a haystack challenge with another needle in a haystack challenge? What is the chances? So I get to the bridge and I don't know, I think every team didn't know whether they were looking for a tiny lock or a bigger lock. And once you got to the bridge, you were like, man, I've seen a lot of locks on a bridge. Like there's at least 2 or 3 other versions of locks on a bridge. I'm like, it's always makes a lot of sense once you get there. So I was like, there's no way they're going to have us looking for a tiny lock. People would be on this bridge for like 5 hours and nobody else is here. So for the first 4 minutes, I was walking the bridge to see if I saw anything. And then I was like, I need to just kick this into high gear. I said, I'll just do a lap back and forth. And if I don't see anything, then I'll start from the back of the bridge and start looking. Because I was like, I know we're in the middle of the pack now. So I know all these other people already took their locks. And at that point, we were truly just trying to get away from Garrett and Joel so that Garrett and Joel had the ability to get lost without tailing us. Because you saw a lot of like tailing from Robin and Chelsea. So every time you see Morgan and I reading a clue and we're just like huffing and puffing, it's because we're trying to run so fast that people can't keep up. And it ended up working really well for Joel and Garrett. And that ended up being at least a safety net that we didn't need, but it was there because Joel and Garrett had no idea how to look for that lock, and they had one less lock to find once I found mine.
Yeah, I mean, you guys raced such a fun race. Anything quickly you want to say before we finish this conversation? Because I could talk to you guys forever. Like, I love it. You guys have been amazing. But anything you guys want the listeners and viewers from Sound Podcast to know? That
if you see a haystack challenge and sisters, just pray for them because it's cursed.
It was like really close to ending there. Like I literally was shocked by how it all went down.
Yeah, I think Mark, this experience, it's truly a once in a lifetime experience. And I'm so thankful I got to do it with Lena. I think people always ask us, what did you take away? And for me, it's like, there is no what ifs. There's no what ifs. Like the Amazing Race is just like life. There are things that you have control over. There's things that you don't have control over. And all you can do is live and race with love and respect. Like I know people saw the chaotic parts of us, but the 95% that they didn't see, we were laughing and hugging and having the best time. But there are no what ifs. So there's nothing that we would have done differently. We ran our race to the best of our ability. I think we kicked ass. And even if you didn't see it, like, man, we were fast and we were competitive and everyone else knew. And if we ever have the chance to do it again, we will be on there and we will do our best to win that $1 million. And I think we could.
Well, I hope to see you guys on a second chance season because y'all were incredible and a lot of people were cheering for you and are happy to see you guys and have had a great experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.